how loyalty becomes a quiet prison, how you stay, even when some small voice within you whispers that you deserve more. Toxic friendships rarely arrive with thunder. They don't announce themselves with betrayal or cruelty in the beginning. They arrive gently, softly, wearing a warm smile and familiar laughter. They feel safe until they don't. You know this pattern. You've lived it. There is a friend you always comforted, always held together when they were falling apart. But when the world began to shake for you, when you needed someone to simply look at you and say, "I'm here," they were nowhere. Maybe they sent a quick message. Maybe they said they were busy, or maybe they just disappeared as if your pain was an inconvenience. Yet when they return, even with the smallest apology or familiar warmth, you let them back in. Not because you are weak, not because you lack self-respect, but because you remember who they were during the good moments, and you hope, quietly, desperately, that maybe that version will come back. There are other moments too, the subtle ones, the compliments that sound like shadows. "You're doing so well. I mean, wow, I didn't expect that from you." The laughter that feels like a knife wrapped in velvet. The way you walk away from a conversation and feel smaller, not seen, not celebrated, just drained. And still, you stay. So, the real question is not why toxic people hurt you. The real question is why you keep returning to them. Why your hands reach for the very thing that wounds you. Why your heart whispers, "But maybe this time will be different," even when every memory tells you otherwise. There is something ancient here. Something deeper than adulthood, deeper than friendships, deeper than misunderstandings. A pattern formed long before you met the people who now hurt you. A pattern that began when you were young, when your heart was still learning what love was supposed to feel like. Because sometimes, the first place you learned love was in silence, or waiting, or apologizing. Sometimes the first place you learned connection was in imbalance. So you grew up believing that love means holding your breath, that friendship means patience without limit, that loyalty means losing pieces of yourself. This didn't begin here, and it won't change until you go back to where the pattern first took shape. Now we go to the root. Have you ever wondered why you hold on so tightly to people who hurt you? Why you explain their behavior, soften their sharp edges, offer endless patience to someone who would never do the same for you? These patterns don't begin in adulthood. They begin quietly, long before you ever had friends back when your heart was still learning how to love. Picture a child, maybe 5, maybe 8. The house is not violent, not dramatic, but it is emotionally quiet. The kind of quiet that feels heavy, like the air is thick with the things no one says. The parent moves through the room, distracted, exhausted, distant in ways the child cannot understand. The child learns to sit still, to be easy, to not ask for too much. They learn that love is something you earn by being convenient. When they cry, they are told to be strong. When they're hurt, they're told it's not a big deal. When they reach out, they're met with absence dressed as calm. So the child begins to adjust. They swallow the need for comfort. They silence the desire to be seen. They learn that love is not something that arrives. It is something they must work for, prove, hold on to, even when it feels like sand slipping through their fingers. Attachment theory calls this anxious attachment, the belief that love is conditional, that closeness must be chaste, that affection can vanish without warning. Neuroscience shows that when a child's emotional needs are inconsistently met, the brain wires itself to crave intensity, not stability, to chase what hurts, not what heals. The child grows older, they find friends, and again, they choose the ones who require effort, the ones who need rescuing, the ones who take more than they give, because something in that imbalance feels familiar. It feels like home even when it hurts. This is the root of your tolerance. You don't stay because you are weak.
Excuse me.
You stay because you were taught love means staying through pain. You learn to hold your breath to keep someone close. You learn to shrink yourself so someone else could shine. You learn to love quietly, hoping someone would choose you back. So, when a toxic friend drains you, belittles you, disappears when you need them, some part of you whispers, if I'm patient enough, they'll stay. That belief isn't foolish, it's wounded. It came from survival, because once the alternative was being alone. If you've ever been loyal to someone who slowly broke you down, don't pause this, because at the end, I'll give you the one shift that finally ends that cycle for good. Have you ever noticed how you call yourself the understanding one, as if patience is your identity, not something you were forced to learn? You walk into every room, carrying a quiet willingness to bend, to soften, to adjust yourself, so others stay comfortable. You tell yourself that this is kindness, maturity, strength, but underneath that calm exterior is a truth you rarely let yourself touch. You learn to disappear in order to be loved. There is a version of you that walks through life wearing what could be called the peacekeeper mask. It's subtle, elegant, almost noble. You are the one who smooths tension when voices rise. You are the one who says, it's fine, when it's not. You are the one who apologizes first, even when the hurt wasn't yours to carry. You do. This so instinctively that it feels like breathing a reflex, not a choice. And the world praises you for it. They say you are mature, they say you are good, they say you are easy to love, but they don't see the cost. You laugh at jokes that cut too close to the bone. You swallow the sting of being overlooked. You let someone take more than they ever give, and you say nothing, because the idea of conflict tightens your chest like a fist around your lungs. You don't want to lose them. You don't want to be seen as too much. You don't want to risk being alone with yourself. So you become the candle that burns itself just to keep the room warm. You become the bridge people cross without ever noticing the ground beneath them.
Damn, that's some deep shit.